On the 21st of August, I said goodbye for a second time to friends and family and drove myself and my plethora of belongings from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, down to Boise. I'm in my sophomore years of studies at BSU, and thus I was returning for the current school year. Last year, as a freshman, I lived in Towers Hall, and I was lucky enough to have parents that supported me financially as far as tuition and boarding costs for my first year. This meant, however, that I did not need a job last year to support myself. This year, as I drove down to Boise, alone this time, no mom and dad, I knew that this year was going to be a bit more challenging. Little did I know how difficult adulting actually can be. With all of the normal chaos of moving out of my parents' house and into a new home, starting a new semester, and looking for a job to pair with school, I was starting to drown in all the new things I needed to juggle. I found myself a job working as a server, something I have no experience with. And let me just say, I have a newfound respect for full-time students working to put themselves through school because this is so hard. After the first week of class, I was feeling defeated and burnt out already. I called my childhood best friend to cry and tell her I wanted to give up on it all. When she answered my call, she was at the county fair in my hometown that I now miss every year because it overlaps with the first week of classes, something we used to attend every year together. She suggested I take a night off and grab some friends and go to the Boise fair that was going on. I decided she was right, and I got a few people together and we headed to the fair. I was walking around with my friends having a good time, but I couldn't really fully let go of my stress and fears. At some point in the day, we made our way over to the pig pens. As I walked through the rancid-smelling stalls, I felt oddly at home. As a high schooler, I raised pigs through 4-H for 3 years with my best friend, Taryn. Our parents thought it was a great way to help us learn responsibility and also be able to reap the rewards for our hard work at fair each year when we sold our pig and made a generous profit. In 2017, as fair was approaching, Taryn and I needed to get our pigs loaded up into the trailer and down to the fairgrounds to get settled in before the fair opened. This week was especially busy for me because it was not only fair week, but I also had an end-of-the-year ballet performance on the night of the pig loading day. Now, I don't know if you've ever tried to get a disgruntled 300-pound pig to walk its happy butt into a dark, closed trailer, but it's neither fun nor quick. After about 2.5 hours of struggling, we finally got the last pig into the trailer using a board to hold it in. All that was left was to close the trailer door and we were home free. I asked my 2 sisters who had been helping us to remove the board inside the trailer holding back the pig so that I could close the door. As they did so, they lost their hold on it and this 60-pound board fell directly on the top of my foot. Flash forward 15 minutes after we finally got the muck boot off my now very swollen foot, the entire top half of my foot, including my toes, had turned a concerning gray-black color. Keep in mind at this point I have to dance on point, which means standing on your toes on a wooden block, in a few hours. Instead of going to the doctor though, I decided to ice my foot and dance anyways. P.S. I do not recommend this. At the end of the night I was exhausted and ready to be done. But as a 4-H kid, fair was an all-day, everyday deal, so I continued to avoid the doctors until it was all over. At the end of the week, I finally went to the doctor who told me that I had in fact broken my talus bone. Even though this week still remains one of the most draining and difficult weeks of my life, I survived it. So for me, that also makes it one of my prouder moments. With a lot of hard work and determination, I made it through the other side even better. Well, besides my foot. As I walked through the stalls, I remembered how hard that week was, but more importantly, I remembered how hard I worked not to give up. Although the situation may not have been exactly the same, it gave me the boost of confidence that I desperately needed to keep persevering through these new struggles. I hadn't given up then, and I wasn't about to now, because I knew that I'm strong-willed enough to do whatever I set my mind to. This is why the Boise Fairgrounds make me feel connected to the Treasure Valley and my new home.